August 28th here in southern Ontario. So last evening in Bolton, Ontario, Trudeau's campaign bus pulled up, and here's the thing. CTV News reported it as, you know, it got passed from the anchor, a gal, to the political correspondent. You were on the scene. And the guy says, yeah, I was there, and mostly anti-vaxxer protesters held Trudeau on his bus, where he later didn't come out to campaign for safety concerns for the crowd. He did backpedal a little and say, well, they're mostly anti-vaxxers. Some people had some other opinions they were expressing. The language was pretty salty. Well, I watched thoroughly more than one video on that, and they weren't screaming anti-vax. There were some protesting, yelling about no to mandatory, keyword mandatory, vaccine passports, and no to mandatory vaccines. By far and away, the crowd was protesting Trudeau. And yes, the language was pretty salty on occasion. So, little background. The tour bus, his campaign bus showed up there. And they gave out t-shirts and credits to students to be his audience. But just the normal passerbys in the mall, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Average with their children. And it wasn't a big crowd, you know, maybe 100 people or something. They just said, no, and started ragging on Trudeau so he wouldn't get off the bus. So some people fault the salty language. Well, if a woman's there with her children and she's cursing, she's pretty irate. She's pretty upset, is she not? That's what Trudeau's getting greeted with all across it on his campaign tour. You gotta love it. So he made some little announcement that made it sound like he didn't get off the bus concerned for safety for the crowd. There wasn't enough police and security there. I don't think it was the crowd's security he was worried about. Something else I delight in is, as I suffer, and I do mean suffer through listening to his campaign speeches. I mean, it literally raises my blood pressure. Does my stress levels no good listening to this guy. But you watch the comments, and they're like 95% negative. The populace has seen through this guy. And that's what was being displayed in Bolton. I don't know what happened to the students. I imagine they abandoned their t-shirts, took the credits, and quietly slid off into the distance. Excuse me, but my point is, there's the mainstream media saying, oh, it was anti-vaxxers. No, it wasn't. It was anti-Trudeau.